The global computer chip shortage is impacting industries from medical devices to military equipment. In autos, General Motors saying could take a $2 billion hit in 2021 thanks to the semiconductor shortage. It announced 3 temporary plant shutdowns as assembly lines wait for more chips. Joining us now to talk about how we got here and how we get out of this rut, Joseph Moore, semiconductor industry analyst at Morgan Stanley. And you've seen it, recessions in the past, and it, usually things are kind of similar, Joe, but you point out this time it's weird. It's not. And things, I don't know whether things came back more quickly or in a more synchronous fashion, or whether some things like the stay-at-home plays, that demand never went away. So for whatever reason, we have seen things rebound really quickly. So the demand side of things is very strong. Then you got the issues with supply.
Yeah, it's really, an interesting phenomenon. Usually early in an economic cycle, semiconductors do see this kind of strength, but it usually happens because it's preceded by a period of significant weakness where customers are taking down inventory. And we didn't really see that last year. We had unit growth last year for semis, and yet we have come back to this level that's pretty surprising in terms of the magnitude of some of these shortages. And I do think it's the breadth of upside. I think we're seeing, very strong consumer electronics and gaming and things like that, which are really outlier strength, a little bit of cryptocurrency in there as well. But then we're seeing this resurgence in the more traditional analog and automotive and industrial markets. And it looks like the customers drew their inventory down maybe more than it appeared last year. And then on top of that, there are some supply things that are leading to supplier anxiety and things like that. But it's definitely the sweet spot for the semiconductor cycle. On the
talk supply, and not everyone is. I read through all your notes. You know a lot. You know so much more than I was really deciding I was going to know. But the nodes and everything else. But what are the 3 most important things that our viewers should know about supply constraints that are occurring right now globally?
Yeah, I think there are a number of issues. I think that, there are Chinese foundries that are on the entity list, and that's causing anxiety from the semiconductor companies who use those manufacturers to build their products. And so they're moving it to other places. That's leading to tighter supply. You also have Chinese customers anxious about getting blocked from purchasing U.S. components, so they're building up inventory. And then on top of that, you've had these kind of rolling outages of manufacturing around COVID, where you have different regions going offline at different times. All of that leads to an anxiety from customers that will have them wanting to put some inventory into place. And I guess what's reassuring from a semiconductor standpoint is that they're not really able to do that. I mean, when you see, it's not necessarily good news to have customers like General Motors say what they said from a semiconductor perspective, but it is good news from the standpoint of the longevity of this recovery, because it does mean that we're not at the phase yet where we're overshooting, where customers are starting to put inventory back on shelves. We're still at the point where we're trying to catch up to that.
Right, like double ordering and an inventory cycle is unlikely to happen this time around. There's a shift, I guess, to new, more advanced, 5G and such too, and that there's a dynamic there as well.
Yeah, that's been pretty surprising to us. We've had the cutting edge capacity that's used for Qualcomm 5G chips or advanced graphics chips from AMD and NVIDIA. That stuff has become very tight, and there's nothing available really on store shelves for those types of products. And that's been after a period of what we thought was pretty high capital spending from foundry, from some restrictions from some Chinese foundry customers. We're still in a very robust environment. So this is strong at the cutting edge. It's also strong at the trailing edge. And it looks like we need to have a little bit more supply to kind of catch up to all this.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.